What's going on, everybody? Another episode of 4x4 Camping and Adventures. And if you watched my last video, 40,000 kilometer update, and I spoke in that video about a few changes I was going to make to the Ranger. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since that video dropped, and I've been busy. I've made those changes. So it's actually coming up to the 2-year anniversary for the car. So I've had it for 2 years. So what a way to celebrate a birthday by giving it a bit of a facelift. So without further ado, the thing's sitting right next to me. Let's have a look. I'm absolutely stoked with how this turned out. And I think you're going to be really stoked as well. But let's have a look. All right, and here she is. I think it looks absolutely epic. It's got the brand new rims, bigger tires, and we've got a fair bit happening in the back there, but in due time, there'll be plenty to talk about in this video. But let's go through the first things first. It looks absolutely epic. We've gone some new tires, Maxxis, the Razor All-Terrains. I've gone back to these. This is my second set, and I was a little bit cautious going for these again, but I have talked to a few people in the industry, and I've talked to a few people that have had these on their car for a while. Apparently with the heavier cars, these don't wear very well. I noticed that with my Patrol over the rear because the Patrol was quite heavy. The rear tires wore down a lot quicker than the fronts. So they are a soft compound tire, but I did actually really like the tire when I had them on there. The only problem I had was the tire wear essentially. So I've given them another go because people have said on a lighter car, because this is only just over probably about 2.4, 2.5 ton. It's a bit of a lighter car than Patrol by about a ton, and I just want to give it another go. So, I can't just blame it all on the tires if I had a heavy car sitting on them. I want to give them another go, and these are all paid for by me, so there's no Maxxis sponsorship here. There's no actual Maxxis sponsorships on the Patrol either, but just want to give them another go, and I think they're a great tyre. Their still tyre noise is great on these for an all-terrain. They're quite an aggressive all-terrain, and yeah, just give it another go. So they're a 295/70 on an 18-inch rim, or a 34.4 in the old money, so essentially almost a 35. But I think they fill out the guards much better than the old BF Goodrich that I had on the car beforehand, and the new rims. Now, I've gone for a polished look, and there's a few things I've done to these before obviously unveiling to the world and that kind of thing. I've actually had these ceramic coated. The reason I've had them ceramic coated is generally with polished rims, they can get a bit of pitting and that kind of stuff when you go over pea gravel or some kind of gravel, or even mud. They can obviously get some pittings. The clear coat's just going to give a bit of protection from that. Now, I think this CSA rim looks absolutely epic. So it almost takes me back to the old school rally rims. So they had those sort of mini spokes, and you saw obviously the WRXs and the Evos and that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure it was an Oz rim or something like that back in the day, but it really takes me back to that, and I love rally. So yeah, it's really really tickled my fancy, those rims. They are bloody epic. I think it looks absolutely awesome now as a vehicle, and I think just the way it looks and it has the stance now, it's really set it off. I think this car has just gone from sort of like an 8 to a 10. It's really set it off, and I did really love the look of it beforehand, but with this new setup, I think, like everyone says, rims can make and break a vehicle, and I think they've definitely made this vehicle. So I'll just be very clear at this part of the video. CSA sent me these rims for free. We're doing a little bit of work together. I'm getting some high quality photos and videos and that kind of stuff for CSA, and we've made a bit of partnership up, and they've obviously sent me the rims, and I'm going to do a little bit of work for them. But you'll probably end up seeing this car in a brochure somewhere, so have a look out for that at like your local Tyre Power or wherever you go to get tyres. But yeah, obviously just want to be clear, it's definitely, I suppose, a sponsored product because they obviously gave me the rims for free. But yeah, so nothing taken away from that. They are bloody epic rims. And this is actually their new release. So they've only just released these. They come in a silver, they come in a black, and they come in a graphite as well. But you can check them out on CSA's website. But as I said, this looks absolutely epic. I'm absolutely stoked with how this car looks. And I just just made me fall in love with it again, if you know what I mean. Just really made me fall back in love with the car again. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So let's go to the back of the car and talk about what's happening over the rear tub. I just can't get over how those rims and tyres look. And you might notice I got my key in my hand. And the reason for that is we've gone with an electric shutter supplied by the awesome guys at TWD. It is a Vicor Industries rear shutter, electric shutter, for the Ford Ranger. They do these for the Raptors as well, and they do them for obviously a fair few other cars. You can check them out on the website. I've gone back to my good friends at TWD, mainly because when we did the suspension, they did such a good job of that, especially lining it up with the weights and that kind of thing. We created a great relationship over the years, and yeah, we've done the same thing again. So we've gone with a twin channel roller shutter, which is completely controlled off the factory remote. You don't need a secondary remote for this. There's also a button inside which obviously allows you to turn it off, open and close it via the inside of the tub. These two channels can obviously hold rooftop tents and all those kind of things, which is obviously the idea I was going for in the previous video when I was talking about it. The rooftop tent will sit on here. And as you can see, we have a very open tub ready for a brand new draw system that's getting designed and made as we speak. But enough about that. Let's talk about this rear setup. So first things first, it is nice and slim in the back area. So some roller shutters do obviously take a bit of space. This is obviously going to take a little bit of space as well because all that shutter needs to go somewhere. But you do still have some of the space underneath, which is really, really good. They've addressed a lot of the issues, especially with the Ford factory shutters that you get. This guy here ain't going to leak. So there's two drain holes here. So you have two drain holes on each side. So if the water goes this way, it's going to drain. And there are two massive drain holes on the other side. So there's 4 drain holes in this altogether. They've got great sealing all around the unit. It's obviously going to be a great dust seal. With any tub, you're not going to seal all the dust, but it's obviously going to do a fair bit to protect a bit of the dust getting in there. And obviously I've got the kit around the back of the tub as well to obviously start dust going in this way. But there are a few holes obviously at the front of the car which allows dust to get through. You also have an LED light bar in there. So underneath the shutter itself, there's a nice LED light bar, which in conjunction works with the 2 lights that are in the back of these Ford Rangers. So you've got plenty of light in there, and it is built tough, really high quality, and the guys down at TWD absolutely nailed it. And as I was saying before, it's all controlled via the factory remote. So double click on the lock to close it, or unlock once to stop it, unlock twice to obviously let it go back in again. I think this is one of the nicest roller shutters on the market. And the reason I say that is it's built well. They've really thought about where the water's going to go, and they've really made sure there's channels and that kind of thing in the unit itself. We've had a bit of rain here in Bunbury since obviously doing the last video, and this has been on the car, and I was up in Perth where there was a fair bit of rain. No moisture got inside this tub. They really fit with the factory look, and they look, as I said, really, really factory compared to a lot of the shutters out there that I've seen on the market. This twin channel is obviously designed to hold a lot more weight. Most of the weight is actually over the tub already, which is really, really good because some of these shutters put a lot of weight in the middle where there's actually no strength there, and they have to put a lot of obviously support and that kind of stuff inside the tub, which takes away a little bit more space of the tub for the brackets, that kind of thing. This one hides away really, really well. No protruding brackets or anything like that. As I said, awesome setup, and I'm really keen to obviously chuck the rooftop tent in here. The rooftop tent's going to be a little bit lower, so when I have a few too many brewskis at camp, I don't fall so far out of the rooftop tent. But essentially that's going to be sitting on there, and that's going to be my setup. And there'll be a drawer system and that kind of stuff in here, but I'll reveal that in a little bit later once obviously the drawer system's done and all sorted. But that will be my new setup for the rear. I've got to be so thankful for the guys at TWD. They killed it, they smashed it out, and done a great job obviously installing this guy. And look, I helped out. Obviously I put a few bolts and that kind of thing in there, but the guys really did an awesome job of making this all work, and I couldn't be happier actually. It's bloody awesome kit. And I'll put all the specs and the weights and that kind of stuff up on the screen here because I can't go through them and I can't remember off the top of my head, but there'll be obviously specs and weights that you need to go through. This is obviously a lot lighter than the canopy, and you know, with obviously the rooftop on there, it's going to be a lot more low-lying, and then you're not going to get as much wind resistance and that kind of stuff with the rooftop tent being so high in the car, which is one of the things that I wanted to change up when I was changing this whole setup. But yeah, I couldn't be happy with this setup. It's really going to take it to the next level. And once this drawer system and that kind of stuff's in here, it's just, yeah, it's going to be absolutely epic. So keen for that, and keen to obviously get into the next stages of doing this whole setup. And I couldn't be happier, guys. I think the car looks absolutely fantastic now. As I said before, there's a Bluetooth app, which obviously I'll show you in this video. So I'll put this on the side of the screen and show you the Bluetooth app in action. So it's nice and easy to use, really intuitive. And yeah, you can obviously sit at camp and open and close the door or turn the light on, whatever you want to do. So you can do that via the app. But yeah, I couldn't be happier. Honestly, couldn't be happier with how this thing's turned out. Even with the bigger tires and that kind of stuff, she's not using much more fuel. It's just looking and driving absolutely awesome still. So yeah, really stoked with how this has turned out. And that's pretty much it for this video, but there are a few more things that are coming up, so keep an eye out for the next couple of videos that will be coming out, talking about a few things. I need to get some flares with these bigger tires because they've got a different offset now, so they're a little bit pokey. So I've got some flares on the way that will obviously resolve that issue. But beyond that, there's a few other things, obviously with the draw system, that kind of stuff, which is coming up in the future. But tell me what you think down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. And as always, I might see you out here in the tracks and trails, or I might see you in the next video. If I don't see you in the next video, I shall see you later. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy. Bye.